Brian Stelter has basically been fired, with all caps fired. So Brian Stelter to leave CNN, the Reliable Sources program has been canceled. So CNN personality Brian Stelter is leaving the network during an ongoing shakeup at the left-leaning cable news outlet. And here's the thing, CNN isn't left leaning, it's left, right? So CNN will end its Reliable Sources program on Sunday, August 21st, a network spokesperson said in a statement. As a result, Brian Stelter will leave the company. We appreciate his contributions to the network and wish him well as he embarks on new endeavors. Reliable Sources was the longest running show on CNN prior to Thursday's announcement, and Stelter has anchored the program since 2013. Stelter, who's 36, which by the way, he does not look like he's 36. Honestly, I hate to break it to you, dude. You kind of look like you're in your 40s, 50s. So Stelter 36 confirmed his exit in a statement and said he would provide more details when the final episode of his show airs on Sunday. But basically, he got fired. I'm grateful for my 9 years with CNN, proud of what we accomplished on Reliable Sources, and so thankful for the viewers who tuned in every week for examination of the media, truth, truth, and the stories that shape our world, Stelter said. It was a rare privilege to lead a weekly show focused on the press at a time when it has never been more consequential, and I'll have more to say on Sunday, he added. According to a source close to the situation, CNN decided to end Stelter's show as part of a refreshed Sunday lineup with new programs including Who's Talking to Chris Wallace, which will begin airing next month. And under the new boss, Chris Litt, who took over after Jeff Zucker resigned in February, CNN is no longer going to dedicate an hour of TV covering its own industry, a source close to the network said. And a source told the Post that Stelter was taken off guard by the news despite persistent rumors that his job was on the line. He was like, me? Fired for speaking, in quotes, the truth about media? Obviously, right? Because here's the thing. Like, if you've ever seen any clips of like Brian Stelter talking about anything, you'd kind of want to like grab a bar of soap and like lather yourself up with some soap because it's just disgusting, right? Like the amount of BS that literally just spews out of his mouth is insane. So, an insider warned Stelter a few months ago about the rumors, but instead of listening, the anchor chewed out the source, claiming he was not getting fired and was part of the fabric of CNN. Which, this like these types of quotes, if they are true, right, fits them to the T, right? Because Stelter is the type of guy that feels like he's entitled to everything and that he can do no wrong, even if he knows that he's blatantly lying to your face, right? And here's the thing, I don't really care about CNN one way or the other. I literally have like no opinions on CNN. Nothing. I don't care about CNN, good or bad, right? But when you hear someone talk and they just literally spew BS, you're like, yeah, I really don't ever want to hear from you ever again, right? Like you just feel like this like strong aversion to be away from it. And the thing is, like here's the thing: he's been on there for 9 years. But guess what? He probably hasn't actually made CNN that much money in those 9 years. Like, ugh, just so bad. So meanwhile, Stelter had grown increasingly prickly about stories of his poor ratings. He often would call reporters about the stories, calling them misleading. Again, this is a guy that has like a really inflated ego for literally no reason because, look, you don't have a big show. You get paid a lot of money to literally lie to your audience, right? You like to hate on other people all the time, right? You like to blatantly lie about other people on your show when your show is supposed to be talking about the truth of the media. Like, there comes a point where no matter how brainwashed your audience may be, they're going to start smelling something. And that scent is called bull crap. Internally, Stelter ruffled some feathers with what a source described as his arrogant attitude. CNN's on air talent griped that he overstepped his place by thinking of himself as a prime time anchor. Some felt that Stelter was protected by ex CNN President Zucker, who hired the print journalist. It's jumping around. Who hired the print journalist to become a TV anchor despite zero previous experience on camera, an unheard of move within the industry. Stelter was a quick study, however, and he learned how to put on a show, a source added. In June, Axios reported that Litch was shifting toward less partisan coverage and closely monitoring anchors to ensure they adhered to the change in tone, with those who were unable to do so potentially facing the axe. So basically, another way to really look at this is that the new boss is actually taking it seriously. He's like, hey, if you're not willing to step closer to the center where the majority of people actually are, then you're going to get fired because you cost too much money to be costing this company this amount of money, right? So the report identified Stelter and fellow CNN anchor Jim Acosta as among the personalities whose left-leaning viewpoints have drawn the ire of conservatives in recent years. Now here's the thing. I don't get why they keep saying left-leaning, right? No, they are left, right? They're not in the center. They are left, right? So in May, Lish sent a memo to CNN staffers declaring too many people have lost trust in the news media. And here's the thing. CNN has literally lost so much trust in America, specifically, where the only way that they could actually start to reclaim some of their reputation that they originally had is to literally clean house by firing every single personality that they have. Especially the ones that are just constantly spewing talking points. I think we can be a beacon in regaining that trust by being an organization that exemplifies the best characteristics of journalism. Fearlessly speaking truth to power, challenging the status quo, questioning groupthink, and educating viewers and readers with straightforward facts and insightful commentary, while always being respectful of differing viewpoints, Litch wrote. First and foremost, we should, and we will, be advocates for the truth, he added. And meanwhile, Lish and Warner Bros. Discovery CEO David Zaslav are leading a sweeping overhaul at CNN that has included cost cutting measures. And Zaslav is aiming to shave $3 billion in expenses at Warner Bros. Discovery after the merger between the two companies closed earlier this year. So the cuts included the abrupt shutdown of the $300 million CNN Plus streaming service just 1 month after its launch. And to be frank, when this came out originally, this literally shocked me how much they spent on this and lost. Because around this same time, the Bad Baby Girl released some of her receipts proving that she herself made $50 million her first year on OnlyFans. Okay? Like, she alone destroyed CNN Plus in terms of profit and revenue, period. So the cuts, Stelter's exit is just the latest sign of turmoil at CNN. Lish took over the network's top post after the resignation of Zucker, who was forced out after failing to properly disclose a relationship with a colleague. Meanwhile, ex-CNN anchor Chris Como was fired late last year following revelations that he helped prepare the defense of his older brother, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, from harassment allegations, and Chris Como and CNN are embroiled in an extensive legal battle over the firing. So yeah, pretty crazy and also kind of funny. Ooh, brand new comments. I heard he's going to open a fitness camp with the motto, "Do as I say." That's all. Let's see. I've wondered how a business model like CNN's could survive. Looks like it can't. He's calling his accountants and asking if he can move into Matt Laur's basement. Where will this little butterball communist ever find work again? The writing was on the wall the day Trump left office. They tried to keep it going with the insurrection bit, but it just didn't work out for them. They all knew their days were numbered on January 6, 2020. Stelter 36, he looks like 56, basically. Let's see. I guess his sources weren't that reliable. Cindy Adams tells me exclusively that her reliable sources tell her that CNN has canned Brian Stelter more news at 9 p.m. I only watched reliable sources twice ever, but I remember watching the last one and Stelter spoke more hate on Fox News than any other actual news story. A friend of mine who actually watches CNN advised me that this new boss over there was planning to clean the house quite a bit. The boss made a statement saying something to the effect that CNN anchors shouldn't spend their time hating on other networks and the Trump syndrome needed to be stopped. Someone mentioned Don Lemon, and my sources does in fact believe he is next. I read another post, and I believe they have maybe said this joking, but sources also said that Liz Cheney would boost their ratings and become a so-called independent. Two actual reporters I actually trust is Miranda Devine and John Solomon. Rumor going around is Brian Stelter is trying to join Chris Como in some kind of podcast, but I don't believe that personally. But being CNN, I really don't know what to believe. I have witnessed supposedly conservatives join CNN and watched their ideology sort of change over a paycheck. What's the lady's name on The View who was at one time a conservative? I can picture her, but I cannot think of her name. Ba 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 ba. I was at an airport once, so I saw 10 minutes of it without having to hear his hysterical ranting. Interesting. Feel free to give your thoughts if you stumble upon this. I think it's a smart move by CNN to start to clean house and clean the house with a very deep cleaning, maybe even some power washing, pressure washing, I should say, because the filth in CNN is quite thick. And again, I don't really care about CNN, good or bad. Literally no feelings towards the company at all, right? Because the reality is a lot of these news companies are basically the same thing and basically just copy and paste news, right? But if they truly want to like get a broader audience than people who just hate Fox News or hate Trump, then doing something like this is a very smart move because if they make their audience broader, then they're going to be able to get a little bit more of a fan base back. If you want to learn how to get a debt and master your money, go to 40inbox.com.